Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stampin' Chat Live. I'm Gina from Gina K Designs, and it's great to see all of you coming in from all around the world. Today we're going to have a lot of fun because we're going to be playing with one of the stamps from the Sunny Days card kit, and I'm going to show you some tips and tricks for coloring where you mix a little bit of ink blending with some colored pencil. Now this isn't hard. You don't have to be an artist to be able to do this because I am not an artist at all. But these are a couple little tips that I picked up along the way that I think really make a big difference. And you can do this with any of your layering stencils to add a little bit of something to your ink blending. Now I'd like to remind you, if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and also click the notification bell so that you never miss another video. Before we get started, let's say hello to Tom. Hey Tom.
Happy crafternoon. Hey everybody.
How are you?
I am better than horrible. You know that.
I do know that. I've had a couple people say that our sound is kind of low. So if you're experiencing that on your phone or even on your computer, actually on the bottom of the screen at YouTube, there's also a volume button that you can turn that up as well. So check that out because sometimes that button's a little low and you think you have your phone all the way up or your computer all the way up, but that button is down and it's keeping it low. So Tom, you have a word of the day planned for today?
I think I might.
Yay. That seems to be almost the favorite part of every video lately.
No, it's either yay or uh-oh.
Well, we can't wait to decide today whether it's
Right.
yay or uh-oh. All right, well, we're going to get started right away because this video is, it's got a lot of stuff going on. Now, we are going to make a card using this stamp set. This is the Delicate Flower stamp set that comes in the Sunny Days card kit. Now, I know that there are people out there saying, is the card kit still available? Unfortunately, it is not. It's sold out in the first week of sales. It did last a full week, and we were very, glad that people had an opportunity to buy it. It's actually sold out in 1 or 2 nights in the past, but this one lasted for a good week. But we do want you to know that all of these things are going to be available a la carte at the end of the month, so you'll be able to buy this stamp and die bundle if you like this card today. At the end of the month, we will be adding all of these products into our store as they come in for our next release, which is at the end of June. And of course, we have thousands and thousands and thousands of you that have ordered the kit, so we don't want to stop inspiring you with card projects like I always do every month. Okay, so I'm going to be using this image today, and I'm going to be stamping it with black ink, and then I'm going to be using the layering stencils that also came in the kit to color this in. We're going to do some die cutting, and then instead of using the foiling like we did in the last video where I used this kit, we're going to be adding a little bit of colored pencil to this ink blending, and I think you're going to like it. So I'm going to start with my Misty just because it's easier for me to stamp with the Misty. And even if you didn't get this kit and you don't want this kit, that's totally fine too. You can still learn tips and tricks on how to color and how to use other layering stencils and adding a little bit of shading in there with that as well. So these videos are always useful even if you don't have the exact same tools and supplies that I'm using today. Okay, so I'm going to start with this image, and I'm just going to put it here on this piece of cardstock because I'm going to stamp it twice, and it's easier for me to just flip this cardstock around and stamp it twice. Okay, so let's see if this side, no, it doesn't really matter. I want to just get the magnet out of the way. Sometimes people think that a stamp image isn't stamping well, and it's just because the magnet's a little bit too close to the image and it prevents it from making contact. So make sure that you have your magnet kind of far away from the design. All right, so I'm going to start with some black Onyx ink. You can still watch us on YouTube. You just have to go to our YouTube page instead of our group because Facebook has taken away the ability to live stream in private groups. So just go over to our YouTube page if you want, our business page. All right, I'm going to stamp this twice, and you can also watch us on Twitch. We want to welcome all of our viewers from Twitch. We know a lot of you come in from Twitch, or at least a few of you do, and you like that platform, so we are glad to be able to do that as well. Okay. Hello and welcome. All right, so I'm going to just check to see if that's going to make it. Did you see what I did there? I just flipped it over to stamp it for the second time. Okay. There we go. And one more time to darken it up a little bit. No, we don't sell the Misty on our website, but you can get it at a lot of our partner stores. So check out our partner store list, including, you know, we have big box partner stores, and then we also have some of our independent stores. Check them all out because most of them do carry the Misty stamping tool. All right. So I'm going to clean this stamp off so I can get it off of my Misty. And then, while I have my Misty out, I think what I'm going to do is stamp a greeting for this card. Now, I haven't, well, let me decide. I don't know if I've decided yet which one exactly I want to use. Let me get something over here. I have our latest release, and, you know, I've really been digging some of these stamps from Dina Gerner. So I might use one of these for my card today. This is from the Morning Blessings Stamp and Die. I'm going to do the bundle. Let me find the bundle. Morning Blessings, where are you? Here it is. So I have the Stamp and Die bundle here. I'm definitely going to cut out my greeting. So I think I might use this instead. And then I'll show you a sample card where I used an older greeting. So let's just do our coloring first, and we'll worry about the greeting later. All right. So this stencil set is very easy to use. But one thing I would recommend if you are, wow, boy, people are coming in from all over. It's great to see all of you. Okay, so one of the things that I would do with the stenciling is I would just put a couple Post-it notes right here, just so that nothing escapes the stencil and gets onto my other design here, if that makes sense. Okay, so I am going to start, this is a 2-layer stencil, very easy to use. There's not a lot of steps on each part of the design, but we're going to create some shading with ink and then with our colored pencil. So I'm going to start with, I thought the colors I would use would be Light Lilac, Medium Lilac, and Powder Blue. So Powder Blue is kind of the wild card in here, but I think it's going to look really pretty, and it's going to make the flowers look more blue than purple, I think. I hope. Let's see. So I'll start with the powder blue, and we'll get a nice base of powder blue on most of these flowers. So you just want to make sure that you have your stencil in facing the right direction. You don't want it flipped around. And you'll know it's the right direction because all of our stencils are marked with the name. Well, most of them are marked with the name, especially these kind. And so you're going to want to make sure that you can read that. If you don't see that, then you've got it backwards. And then we're just going to line this up here over this part of the design. Now, it's pretty easy to get it lined up, but one thing I would recommend is having your pixie tape or whatever you're using. Maybe you use a stencil mat. That's totally fine. If you don't, and you're a little old-fashioned like me, and you're still using tape to tape things down, not a problem. So let's get this in place here. So you know what? Before I do this, I am going to put a scrap piece of paper down here like I always have. I just like working that way better, and then I can just tape my paper down too. So let's go back to that. Now you can see I didn't stamp it straight up and down, so I do have to turn the stencil, and that is totally fine. Once that's in place, we will tape it down and tape it down in 2 spots at least. Now I'm going to use a smaller blending brush, not one of our big ones. We've got 3 sizes right now. We've got our large blending brushes, well, these are our original blending brushes, our small blending brushes, and our detail blending brushes. I'm going to be using small and detail brushes for this today, but if you don't have those, you certainly can use a larger blending brush. Now I'm going to just brush a little bit of that blue off. And then I'm going to start at the bottom of each of these flowers and just work my way up to add some blue.
And this stamp set again?
The stamp set is from the Sunny Days kit, and it is called Delicate Flowers. This one also has polyglaze that coordinates with it, so you can also use this stencil with polyglaze sheets. And there's a lot of fun things. Check out my last video that I did last Thursday and posted it. It's a great video that shows you how to use the polyglaze sheets. Okay, now I'm going to take this same brush and I'm going to go a little heavy on the underside of each of these flowers. So just a little heavy in there, a little heavy over here, and a little heavy under here. Just so that it kind of appears that the light is coming from the top of each flower. Now, I am going to add a tiny bit, just a tiny bit of, you know what, I'm not even going to do that. I'm going to go with the medium lilac. And I'm going to use a detail brush for this. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of medium lilac here, and I'm going to add that to the bottom of each of these flowers. So we're going to kind of make the bottom of these flowers a little bit more purpley blue.
So Morris wants to know, how do you decide where to put the stamp on the card? Sometimes you take them off the edge or put them in other orientations on the cardstock.
Oh, goodness. Well, you know, I've been making cards for a very long time, and I have certain layouts that are my go-to layouts. And I think the best thing that somebody that is not really 100% sure what to do is to look at other people's layouts. And you could still make that card completely your own by changing up the flowers or, you know, coloring them a different way. But look at the way other people do it and kind of figure out if you like that particular layout. And if you do, then go ahead and give it a try. Over time and doing enough of that, you will totally start to figure it out on your own. Okay, so you can see there now that's glowing a little bit more, and the flowers are a little bit more purple down near the bottom than they are up near the top. Now I'm going to pull this off, and you can see how pretty that is. It's so nice to have it all filled in with layering stencils, and it kind of looks like, you know, this is what you would do if you were, I don't know, coloring with Copic markers and you knew how to do all that fancy shading and stuff. I don't really know how to do that very well, so for me, the layering stencils are a dream. Now I'm going to go to the next stencil, and again, you want to make sure that you can read the writing there, and I'm going to place this on the leaf parts. So once again, we want to get it into place. Now, if you want, you can do all of the flowers first and then go back and do all of the leaves, but I figure I've got the post-it notes here. I really don't want to upset the apple cart. This is very easy to just clean the stencils and start over on the other side. Now my first color, I'm going to use light spruce. And again, I'm using a small blending brush for this. And I'm going to add a little bit of light spruce in there. And I'm coming up, so when I do this, I kind of work my way up from the stems and work my way up and out. This way, the darkest part of the color is hitting closest to the stem, and the lightest part of the color is out at the ends of the leaves. So you can see here what I'm talking about. I'm bringing that color in.
Nancy has a question. What happened to the silhouette bird stamp that was a new release in April?
It's sold out and we have more on the way. So it's still on the website. Make sure you get on the notify me list. And when that comes in, you're definitely going to be able to pick that up if you're looking for it. Okay. So I'm using the lighter color here, and then I'm going to go in kind of the same way that I did with that darker color using a detail brush. And don't worry if you go off here, because we're going to die cut these flowers out anyway. Okay. Now I'm going to bring in that medium spruce. So Nancy, if you can't find it, contact customer service and they'll be happy to help you. It's called Serene Skies. So you can always go to the little magnifying glass and look it up. It's probably under Melanie Menschinger, under her name. But you could definitely, you know, find it that way. Okay, so I'm just getting some ink on this brush here. This is the medium spruce, so I'm adding that just to the bottom parts of these.
And Candy is wondering whether will there be more mini cube sets coming?
There will be, not for a little while, but there will be. We've got some other new colors we're working on first for our regular line, because we haven't done any regular line colors for a while. There is a document over in our Facebook group that shows you all kinds of trios that you can create using the we already have. And I show you a 3-color blend for every color of the rainbow in that chart. I'm going to try to get that onto our blog too, so that you can find it a little more easier. Okay, so now I've got those colors right there. And there we go. So now we've got some shading in there. We're going to be adding more with the colored pencil. So now I'm going to flip my Post-it note around this way, and I'm going to repeat that process. So I do like to clean my stencils with rubbing alcohol. You don't have to do this. You can use the tidy towel. You can use just water. It's totally fine to do that. But the reason why when I'm like working on something and I want to use the stencil right away, I like using rubbing alcohol because it evaporates almost instantly, and I don't have to worry about it wetting my my card project. So that's kind of a nice little thing about rubbing alcohol. Plus, rubbing alcohol will get the stains off of your stencil. So if you have some stencils that you've used with like a red ink or a blue ink that stains or black ink, it does really help to get the stains off of them. Okay, so now I'm back to this side again, and we're going to repeat that process using the powder blue and the medium lilac. So I'm going to tape that down again. It's kind of nice to be able to see me go through it a second time. If you're newer to this, this could be helpful. Okay, just gonna get a little bit. Sometimes, you know, when you first ink up your blending brush, just you get a little globbiness right on the end, and I like to just tap some of that off so the color goes on a little bit more smoothly. Okay, here we go. Heavier toward the bottom and lighter toward the ends. So I'm just going in a circular motion toward the top. But when you start at the bottom, more of the ink is going to release off of the brush wherever you first put it down. And then as you work your way to the top, there's less ink on the brush, so you can kind of get that lighter look. Now, if you prefer it the other way, maybe you want the lightest part to be at the bottom, that's fine. But if you're going to do this coloring technique, you definitely want to do it this way. Now, I'm going to re-ink the brush, and I'm going to go a little heavier on the dark side of the flower, the part that the sun wouldn't be hitting, if that makes sense. So the sun would be coming from above. It could be coming from the side. I don't really understand all of that. I just know that I like the way this looks. I'm a crafter. Okay, now we've got our blues on there. And even, you know, isn't it interesting how even one color can look like more than one color? So I know everybody loves the trios for the layering stencil, but this is one color ink, and it looks like it's got a dark blue, a medium blue, and a light blue. So keep that in mind when you're picking your colors as well. I'm using Gina K Designs Layering Weight White cardstock. It is the best cardstock on the market for ink blending. It's so smooth and your ink just glides over it, and it helps your ink to just dry so beautifully, and it dries very much like a airbrushed finish. Now I'm going in with that medium lilac again, the medium lilac. If you don't have this color, you could use maybe wild wisteria, or you could use regular wild lilac. And again, I'm bringing that purple in from the bottom just to darken it up and kind of change that blue to a little bit more of a purpley blue.
Okay, Laura has a question about the stamp cleaner. Do you use your stamp cleaner when you use the tidy towel, and does your stamp cleaner have alcohol in it? She is allergic.
Yeah, it's definitely a solvent-based stamp cleaner. So if you're allergic to alcohol, I don't know that I would use it. It's strong and it will get anything off. If you have rubber stamps that have been sitting in your drawer for 20 years with permanent black ink on it, it'll clean it all off. I do use it with the tidy towel with no problem, and you can too. But if you're allergic, I wouldn't go there. And it's a shame, because if you're allergic, you are going to get more staining if you're not using a more aggressive stamp cleaner. But you can still get your stamps cleaned where they're not going to transfer ink, just with water and soap. Okay, so
most of the time you just use water with your tidy towel.
Oh,
right?
most of the time, yeah. I just use the tidy towel that's just damp with water. But when I have an aggressive color on there, like a permanent black or something like that, then I use stamp cleaner. And I do like using the rubbing alcohol on the stencils because, like I said, it evaporates so quickly, and it does clean all of the color off, which is so nice. And I do a lot. I'm a technique girl. You guys know that. So I do some of that reverse stenciling where you stencil in bright colors and then you go over the entire thing with black. So, I tend to use colors that are very stainy on my stencil, and I can keep them really clean with our stamp cleaner and with alcohol. All right, so I am putting this one on here. Lining it up. The think from, don't you hate that when you're like, I got it all lined up, and then you have a spasm? The regular daily spasm, the coffee jitter. Okay, there we go. So now, I hope this is close up enough for everybody. I think it is, because you guys usually watch on TV and stuff. But if you're watching on a phone, you might want to at least rotate your phone so you can see it a little bigger. So I'm going to use light spruce on this again. And then again, kind of going along the stem and just allowing that brush to just work its way out to get a little bit lighter on the edges. It's kind of hard to see it on flowers quite this small, but it'll really make a difference if you do that with bigger flowers. And so I just, kind of got into the habit of doing that, and I think it still works really well with these smaller designs. And this one leaf is a little bit bigger. And now we're going to add that second color. Once again, I am just shedding today. Is that like a thing with my age? Just shedding? So I heard that something really good for your hair, my daughter Rena told me this, she's a hairdresser, is rosemary. So I bought some rosemary. She said all you have to do is buy a bunch of rosemary and boil it in a pot for, quite a while, and then strain it and put the water in the fridge, and then just rinse your hair with that, and don't even rinse it out, and it's supposed to help with hair loss. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm not really losing my hair, but I don't want to. Okay, so this is medium spruce. But she said that she had a lot of luck with it because she was seeing some hair loss from just doing a lot of aggressive hair color. You know how hairdressers are. They like to change their hair color all the time. And she said it really helped strengthen her hair, and she saw a lot of new growth. So maybe. I think there's something to it. Even all of our medicines and stuff they come from natural sources, right? Just very concentrated.
You would hope.
Yeah, I would hope. Okay, so now I got a little darker there. Yeah, essential oils too, right? That would work. I think she dilutes it a little bit though, puts it in water so it's not too strong. Okay, so now we've got both of our flowers colored, and they look the same. Sometimes that's tricky when you got it covered up, but we made them look the same. Okay, so now I want to show you my favorite pencil for creating more depth, and it's probably not one you think. I learned this from my friend Kathy Rakusin. I went to one of her classes many, many years ago when she was doing classes on the road. And this is a little trick that she teaches, and I know a lot of people teach this now. I know most of them learned it from her. But a black Prismacolor pencil is probably one of the best colored pencils that you can have in your collection for adding depth. So she doesn't do it with Gamsol. I'm going to do it with Gamsol. She doesn't need to use Gamsol. I do. So I've got my point nice and sharp here, and I'm going to add a little bit of black down into the bottom here. Now I want to show you when I blend this out with some Gamsol, the difference between what I have here and what I have here. You don't need a lot, just a tiny little bit, and then I'm going to take a blending stump and some Gamsol. Now if you don't want to use Gamsol, you can use other products like lavender spike oil. You can use Zest It, which baby oil, I'm not sure how it's going to affect I'm not a fan of baby oil just because it leaves like stains, and I also the smell never goes away. So I'm not a big baby oil fan, but I know people do like it, and it does blend your colored pencils. But if you can handle the Gamsol or the lavender spike oil or Zest It, Zest It's made out of oranges, lavender spike oil is made out of lavender, and Gamsol is an odorless mineral spirits. So I have a little bit of Gamsol here in this cup. I'm going to use a blending stump, and I'm going to just dip that blending stump in here, and then I'm going to pull that black out.
Lavender spike oil sounds like moonshine.
It could be. But look at that. So it creates a gray that kind of goes over the flower. And look at all of that dimension that you get from that, just from a black pencil. Isn't that amazing? I mean, that to me looks so beautiful. I'm going to take pictures of this, high quality pictures, so you'll be able to see them nice and clear, both on our Facebook group and here on my my community tab on YouTube. But look at that. That looks so much more vibrant to me than these. It just makes everything else glow. And you can see I didn't do a lot, right? I just added a little bit of black down here. And when you first do this, you might think, oh my gosh, you know, it's covering up all the detail lines of the flower. When you use the Gamsol with it, it just makes it more transparent, so you really don't lose that detail. But you see how I'm just bringing that up? I think that is the bee's knees. Look at that. So much better. I love it. All right. And I don't do that enough. I think about it later when I'm home after I did a video using Gamsol, and I always think, why didn't I add that little touch of black? It's so pretty. And I don't know, to me, it changes everything. It does really make it look like Copic markers or something like that. And see, I'm just kind of like working it up, so it just blends it out from the bottom. So now everybody needs to have one black Prismacolor pencil. That's all you need. One black Prismacolor pencil, and you can add all of this beautiful shading. And, you know, I've even seen it done with red. Do it with reds. It's amazing with red. I wouldn't do it with pastels as much. I'd have to play with it a little bit to see how it would look with pastels. I tend to like it more with these more jewel tone colors, like the reds, the blues. But I think that just makes it go wow. I don't sell Prismacolor pencils, but you can get them pretty much anywhere these days. I mean, if you go to, I've even seen them at like Walmart and stuff, but if you go to like well, of course your local craft stores, most of them are going to have Prismacolor pencils. If you go to your local craft store or your local art supply store, a lot of them will even have open stock. And I kind of regret buying the whole set. I did buy the whole set when they, you know, I had the full set syndrome. But there are a lot of pencils that I don't use, and they just sit there without much going on. Ooh, that one's really pretty because it has little strokes. Now I want to add little strokes. I got to really zoom in there, Tom. They got to see that. Tell me if you could see that. Can you see these little strokes in there?
Oh, yes.
Isn't that cool?
Wow.
So let's add a couple little strokes in the other ones just for fun. Why not? But it does make such a difference, and it's just like a tiny little... As long as your pencil is sharp, you can add those little strokes in there, and you don't even really have to blend them out. You can just a couple. You don't have to get crazy. But back to what I was saying, I feel like, you know, I bought the full set because I had full set syndrome and I thought I'd need them all. And what I find is that I really only use a handful of colors. I don't do that much intricate pencil drawing. That made a lot of difference there. Love those details. That one happened by accident, and I just tried to reproduce it. Maybe I'll do one more here, just make sure it's thin enough there. So I would get, you know, a good bright red, especially if you're using Gamsol. It's another reason why maybe I didn't need the full set, but somebody that is a pencil artist does, because I blend with Gamsol, and so I can take one color pencil and make it look like it's a couple different colors all together, because the Gamsol blends it from dark to light, right? So I don't necessarily need 5 different reds to achieve that look. So if you're like me, you could go and get a couple open stock pencils and you'd be fine. You don't need every single one. I know full set syndrome is a thing, and it tells us that we need more. Okay, so look at that. Isn't that fun? Just make sure your pencil point is nice and sharp to do that effect. Can you see all that detail, Tom?
I can see, yes.
Okay, so let's add a little bit of that same detail. Here it's gonna get scary. Let's add a little bit of that down here at the bottom of our leaf too. Just a little black pencil. Now I don't think I'm gonna do the other part, the line. I don't feel like I'm that skilled, but maybe it'll happen by accident. Yeah, full set syndrome is a thing, and I get it. Like, we don't want to miss out, but
This is like another form of black sense.
black sense, yeah, a little black sense. You gotta type that word up so they know it was one of the words of the day that meant accents in black sense. So I'm gonna do that and just take that Gamsol and just bring that up. I'm telling you, people are gonna look at your cards and they're gonna like think, wow, she nailed that, or he nailed that. I know we have everybody watching. Okay. I saw somebody said, and I want to address it because I just want you to know that it is totally random. Somebody said, oh, I wish, when we were giving away a gift card the other night, they said, oh, I wish that he'd pick a guy sometimes. And I totally get that. But it's totally random. So if you've made a comment, your entry has as much chance as anybody else. I just think probably we just have a lot more ladies here watching, but hopefully, hopefully you'll win. I didn't catch the person's name. I just saw the comment go by and I was like, I hope they don't think that we're like choosing on purpose, because we just randomly pick, or Tom randomly picks. Okay, I'm going to do just a tiny bit here. I might not even Gamsol that. I might just add that in there.
So is this the first time you're doing these kinds of black scents?
It's the first time I'm doing them live, yeah. I mean, I don't think I've done them in a video before.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing that.
But it's a huge difference, isn't it?
It is.
I think I'll put a little bit more in here. And I like the texture that it creates, too. Okay, so look at the green leaves here versus the green leaves here, just with a little black pencil. So, adding a little bit more.
Okay, interesting question from Phyllis. If you were coloring with pink, would you use the black colored pencil?
Well, maybe. See, a lot of it has to do with the shading that you're doing with the pink. So, if I was doing the carnations, for example, and I had light carnation, then I had medium and dark carnation, I would definitely use the black. Definitely. You'll be surprised how much the black doesn't really look black. It just looks like dark, like deep. It kind of just looks like darker version of whatever color is there.
Like a shadow.
Yeah, it just creates that shadow. That's exactly it. So what I would do is, I know a lot of times people are like, would this work or would that work, or would it work with this color? And they're really good questions. But you know what's fun? It's just fun to try it. Just stamp it and try it and see how it looks. Because I might say, oh, I don't know that I'd do it with that color. But then I would try it and go, oh, yep, maybe I would do it with that color. That looks great. Definitely try it. Don't be afraid to just stamp some images out and just practice a little bit of coloring. Because this would have never come about if Kathy Rakusin hadn't taken her black pencil and said, I want to see what this looks like, right? Somebody along the line has to try it to be able to show everybody else how cool it is. So I would just say, break out your colored pencils, break out your ink, give it a try, see how it looks, see if you like it. But again, like with the pastels, I'm saying, I don't know if I do it with pastels. But that's because I really mean I don't know. I would have to try it to see. I'm putting a little bit of a few lines in that one because it's so big. I feel like the texture is cool. Okay. Well, I think we've got some good looking texture there. Yes, I agree. Huge difference. The pencil number, it's called black. The pencil number is PC935. I do like Prismacolor pencils because I think they're a great entry-level art pencil. And when I say entry-level, like, you know, there's something a lot better. There are better pencils out there. I don't buy them because I'm not an artist. I go with what works for a crafter, and I think Prismacolors are affordable. You can get more colors if you like a lot of colors, and, you know, it's not going to break the bank. I mean, open stock pencils, I think, are like probably under $2 now.
So Leela has a question. Do you use the same stump for all colors?
No. So we do sell the blending stumps, and I think our blending stumps are made by Creative Mark. I love them. I think they're the best blending stumps on the market because the paper isn't pressed too tight. Some blending stumps are so hard that they don't absorb the Gamsol. These are just the right amount of pressed paper, and they're different than, Tom, I'm going to say it wrong, but I think they're tortillons. They're the rolled paper. Don't get those. They're more for charcoal. They're more for dry applications. You want to do a blending stump. So you can get them on our site. I know we have more coming in. They come in. We get like 1,000 of them, and they go right out because people like to have more than one. I think ours are in a 5 or a 6 pack. But remember, it's got 2 ends. So at any given time, you could be using 12 colors. So I think that, you know, a pack is really good. Now, I'm worried about cutting these out because I want them to be perfect. So I am going to do my little cutout trick. And if you're new to Gina K Designs, you will enjoy this little trick. If you're not new, just humor me because I do want them to look good. So I'm going to, and the rest of the card's going to come together in a jiffy now. I just wanted to, you know, really take my time there with the coloring and kind of show you everything. So let me just find a scrap piece of paper here that I can trim down. This is a piece of paper that I used in the fall. So I'm going to just take this piece of tomato soup, I believe this is. That doesn't matter. Just get a piece of scrap paper that, and you can make this and you can save it with your die set. So I'm going to use the die set here for this, and I'm going to cut this out. Okay. This is my trick that I do when I'm very nervous about cutting something and I just don't want to mess it up. You know, I want it to be perfectly centered. So I'm going to cut both of these out using this template. So this you could definitely use with something else along the line, but we're not going to use it now. This is what we're going to use, this piece right here. So I'm going to lay this down, and then I am going to lay this on top so that my design looks very centered. See that? That looks very centered. Now I am going to tape that down with some pixie tape. I do want to make sure that looks good. Let's just finagle it a little bit so that all of it looks perfect. There we go. Oops. That looks pretty good. Pretty good. Better than horrible. Much better than horrible. You know, when I hold that down, I can see that looks pretty good in there too. Now I'm going to take this die and I'm going to just place it on top and feel it like snap into that open hole. And then I'm going to take a piece of Masking Magic, because Masking Magic won't tear my paper, and I'm going to hold this down with the Masking Magic. I don't need quite that much. And then I'm going to run it through. So this is kind of one way that you can kind of center your dies a little bit better. There's a couple tips and tricks out there on my YouTube channel, but I think this one is a good one if you're just starting out and you're really worried about it. Now, is it perfect? it's pretty close, but it's certainly better than horrible, right? Now we're going to do the same thing again. I'm just going to flip this around. We do not have cranberry tart cardstock. Our mill stopped making that, and we don't have cranberry tart ink anymore, but we are looking at doing a cranberry coming up. A new cranberry, a new style of cranberry. Yeah, we had to stop making the ink because this is the craziest thing. I'm telling you, like, I don't think people really realize some of the crazy stuff that happens behind the scenes. So cranberry, certain reds will actually explode. I know that sounds crazy, but certain reds will actually explode. And certain reds will also get white spots on them of ink. And so, you know, we had the cranberry and they stopped making one of the pigments that was causing that problem, and we just couldn't get the color right. So we just discontinued it. And then our mill had a pigment change too, and they weren't making the cardstock color for us anymore. So we're looking into it though.
Here's a memory buster from Laura. When you did the video about heat embossing and foiling over top, what setting did you use when you foiled? I have the mini mink.
I would say 3, I'm going to guess. Probably 3. You could try 2. Do a test trial and try 2. If that's not enough, then go to 3. But I wouldn't go any higher than that. And again, you know, a lot of those things are really trial and error. You just give it a shot and see what happens. You're not going to ruin anything if it's just a test piece anyway. Okay, so there's my other one, looking pretty good, pretty centered. And they're going to be the 2. And then, you know, you can save this with your die set so you can use it again and again. But it's just a little scrap piece of paper. So if you want to make a new one each time, you can do that as well. Pixie tape is stickier than masking magic, that's for sure. All right, now we're going to pick a greeting, and I'm going to die cut the greeting, and then I'll be throwing my card together. I think you're going to love the card. So let's pick a greeting. I think I'm going to do, I got to open this. The greetings in this, well, first of all, the mice are adorable. I love the mice in this set. Oh, I've got to figure that out now, which greeting I'm going to use. But wouldn't it be nice to do, like, I hope your day is as special as you are. I think that would be a good one. Or may your day be filled with joy and many mercy. Oh, they're all so good. I think I'll use this one. May your day be as special as you are. They're all good. Whatever you pick is going to be good. I'm going to pick this one because I think it's going to be easier for me to find the die in my last moments here of this live. So I'm going to put my 2 little flowers up there. And this is a layout that I did show on release party night. I'll show you what that looks like, the one that I made. But I didn't add all of the black accents. So this is a brand new stamp. So whenever we stamp a brand new stamp, it's always a good idea to take your finger and rub over the stamp to try to rub some of the manufacturing residue off. If you don't get a good impression the very first time, don't worry about that. That doesn't mean there's something wrong with the stamp. It's probably just got some residue on it, and you can rub that off. You can take it to the sink with a toothbrush. I know Tom always worries when I say that. Okay, so Tom, I am going to stamp this image and I'm going to cut it out. And while I do that, I know everybody is waiting to see if you have a word of the day.
Time for word of the day. Word of the day. Okay, so
Word o' the day.
Word o' the day. Okay, so the word of the day today is card wheel. Okay, so I know what you're thinking. Wait, you think that's some kind of blending color tool? No, the card wheel is a gymnastics move that is similar to the cartwheel, Cartwheels are what a Gina K Designs fans, they've been seen doing down the driveway to the mailbox when they realize that their kit has just been delivered. The card wheel.
I love it.
That's what you do.
Doing a card wheel. Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Word of the day. Back to the dead space.
Well, that was good, and I was able to find that die really quickly, too. That's worth a card wheel or two. All right, now this one I'm going to go just by looking. I'm hoping for the best here. I'm just going to look and hope for the best. They line up pretty well, but you know. I don't mind restamping a greeting. I mind restamping and recoloring an entire flower. So this one I'm a little more willing to take a chance on than I was with those two flowers. That's a great word of the day, Tom. Where do you come up with them? That's what everybody wants to know. Do you dream words of the day?
I do.
Okay, it's coming. There we go. So that's what we're going to use. We're going to use that. Now I'm going to do a little quick stenciling with the Decorative Duo Stencil. Did I bring that with me? Do I have that? I think I do. It's the one I want to use. Yes, I do. Okay. And then I'm going to cut one more die cut piece here. I'm going to cut a Master Layouts 2 panel. And for those of you that are new, Master Layouts is a series of dies that mix and match together to create card layouts. A lot of them have decorative edges, like the one I'm going to use now is going to create a little stitched edge around the outside of my card. Some of them have scallops, some of them have, they just have all kinds of cute things that you can mix and match together. And if you're not sure about them, check out some of my videos here on my channel. I use them a lot, and I'm pretty hooked on the idea. The other thing that's really, ooh, I didn't cut that very well. I always forget that with the stitching, I like to just turn up the volume a little bit on the intracut. So I will do that here. Hopefully it doesn't double cut, that I didn't shift anything. We'll see. I like to turn up the tension just a little bit with the stitching, just to get that good impression. So there we go. Ooh, that's bright. Now I'm going to use the plain die from Master Layouts 2 to cut out my black panel. And that's the other thing that's really cool about the Master Layouts die sets, is that you can get the little stitched layer. Oh, here we go with this again. I got to try to be, this is the smallest piece of cardstock that you can cut. And also when you do it a little bit on an angle, it goes through a little easier. So you see how it's tilted a little bit on that? Anytime you're doing a rectangle or a square, have one corner hit the rollers first. All right, did I do it? I did it! See? I left a full rectangle behind, so I got it out of there. And what this does, and all of our master layers have something like this, well, most of them. There's a couple that are a little different, but most of them have pieces that will create a shadow layer, so you can get that nice little 1/8 of an inch. It's actually 1/16 of an inch going around the perimeter. The die is 1/8 of an inch smaller, so it creates that kind of look, and it's just perfection. Makes it so easy if it's hard for you to cut straight, and a lot of times it's hard to cut straight because paper cutters aren't always that great. They're not always that straight. Okay, so I'm going to use a little bit of Spruce ink on this. I think I'm going to go with the light Spruce for this. And I am going to get a bigger brush And I am going to just do a little bit of spot stenciling. And the spot stenciling is nice because it creates a kind of a, let's get this to stay in place. It creates just a little bit of a grounding panel. So I'm going to start up here, and I'm going to add a little bit of spruce up here, like that. See that? It's a lot darker than what maybe you're seeing on the screen. I don't know how vibrant this looks, Tom, but
it's pretty nice.
Yeah? Okay. I'm going to add a little bit down here. I'm not going all the way to the edge. I'm just kind of like adding some spots of it. And then I'm going to add the other pattern in there too, just for fun. Because there's two patterns here, why not use them both? A little bit down here, like that. I think that looks pretty good. Maybe I will, you can line this back up again if you want to add more. I just come down a little bit further here. Yeah, I think that's good. All right, so hopefully you guys can see that in there. Is that, can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. Alrighty. Now I think I need to do a video on the full-blown master layout system since we have 16 of them now. It probably would be a good video to show how to mix and match the different layouts together. All right, I'm going to pop that here. And then I was thinking to use Wild Wisteria, but I have to see how it looks with this. Do you think that looks pretty good? I think it does. Yeah, I think that's going to look good with this cardstock. But we could also use a blue. So let me just get a blue here. I'm gonna get some blue denim just to see how that looks. I know we're probably going over the hour. Sorry, I had to cut that on the floor. I am now on the floor. What is that called, Mom? The floor stamping?
Florganized.
I'm florganized. Yeah, my paper cutter is on the floor. I just want to see how this blue denim looks. I do like the Wild Wisteria because I think Wild Wisteria is a really pretty color purple that works with our lilacs really nicely too. But let's just look at it because it might bring out more blues if we... Oh, okay. I like this, and I'll tell you why. Because when I do this, now just hear me out, the card base glows. When I do this, the flowers glow. Do you see the difference? And I want my focal image to glow more than I want my cardstock to glow. So I'm going with the blue. But I will show you a purple version of this card. Okay, well, let's get this all together here. A quick tack down of this. Oh, no, I don't have time for this. Maybe I have another one here. Okay, I do. I don't have time for tape replacement.
Well, we did get a question related to that.
Tape replacement?
Well,
how to do it?
How you wind it up when it catches.
Oh, you just open it up here and you could take a little screwdriver or a knife or your fingernail and just wind it past the part. That's all you do. It works really well. Okay, now my layout. This is going to be my layout. I'm going to have one that's this way and one that's this way. So I'm going to kind of have them like on an angle like that. And then I am going to pop my greeting over the middle.
Wow.
Yeah. Now I don't like this greeting for this now because I feel like it's covering too much of the flower. Maybe I just need to pop this down a little more. That's not so bad. Maybe I'll bring it in more like this. Like I'll spread this out a little bit more so you see more of the flowers. This is how it goes, you know? And then I can see on here, sometimes you've got to just pick off that little bit of cardstock that from your little template you made. Sometimes you get a little bit on there, but just pick it off. It comes right off. So let's try that. Let's spread them out a little bit so we can get a little bit more of the flower. I don't know. What do you think, Tom?
Oh, man. I don't think so.
Should I do a smaller greeting in there so I can bring them together a little bit
I
more?
would.
Yeah? Okay. That's what I'm thinking too. All right. I think I'm going to... I like this stamp set too for this. Modern Roses. I also like the stamp set that comes with the Delicate Flowers set. And that might be even better, you know, to have that in the middle. I feel like it needs a little bit of a bolder greeting, though, the way this is. All right, let's do birthday wishes. It's a little bit... is that even that much different, though, really? We could do hello, friend. I'm going to make this one work. I'm going to make it work. I still think it's pretty. It's so hard to decide. And I do love the saying here. So, yeah, I could do it landscape. Like this way, you mean? Pop it in here. Oh, that is pretty. All right, well, let's just pretend this is a top folding card. And we'll do it this way. Good idea. Good idea, guys. That is really pretty. Let's do it. Because I have a vertical one to show you. Now, here I am trying to be fancy with my nails again. Let me just pick these off and put these on here. So we're going to pop up the flowers, and we're also going to pop up the greeting. So we do need these little foam squares, which are really nice for this kind of thing. And then I always cut some ones in half for these little areas, like that. Maybe down here. I don't know. I have a really skinny one here for down there. Okay. So I put that there. Yeah, I agree. I mean, like, that's why it's so great, because I would have never even turned it, but I looked up and saw a comment that said, do it horizontal. And it's so great when we figure this stuff out together. I feel like we're all in this together. And we'd have to add just a few quick little embellishments, and we'll be good. But you know, the card has to be right. That'll work. Probably stick one here. These little half ones, I just cut them in half, and it's very helpful. And I have these super little skinny ones that I did on purpose, very skinny, just for the purpose of these skinny stems. Because you just don't want that like flopping around. All right. So we're gonna do it this way.
Those pieces will be joined for all eternity.
They will. You can do a card this way with a side fold. It's not a problem. I mean, it's just interesting, and it's a fun way to do it. You know, I always did top fold cards for my mom, and it was always confusing to her because every card that she had ever gotten from a store had a side fold, so she would always try to open it sideways anyway. So maybe, you know, for somebody that prefers that side fold, this would be a good way. Okay, so let's figure out where we want this. Do this here, like that. And then we're going to do the other one like that. Good idea. I don't know who said that, but that was a good idea. Because the comment went by really fast. Because we're getting comments from Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. So they do go by kind of fast sometimes. People aren't talking as much on one platform, but they're talking a lot on another platform. So I said I had to do my nails, and somebody said, no, don't do your nails. I like them the way they are. They're not distracting me. So now I'm confused if I need to do my nails at all anymore. All right, so I'll get that in here like that. Looked pretty good. I just dropped it. The nice thing is, if you don't press down, you can still move things around a little bit. See how that looks, and then I'll put this in here and see how it feels. Oh yeah, you get to see a lot more of the flowers that way. Okay. Now I'm going to add a couple little foam square parts right in the area where it would sink in. I do feel like I could have gone over a little bit more with this, but I don't think I can now. But it's good. It's better than horrible. So I'm going to put a foam square under the A and under the E here. Now I know that's going to be hard for me to see on this side, but I think it'll go right here. You can kind of see through it. It is a little transparent. Maybe a smaller one. I don't think these big squares are the right size. I'll go with a smaller one under the A and under the E. I have a foam square stuck to me here. And then I'm going to put tape on this other part. Just a little tape. You could use liquid glue too, because these parts are actually going to stick to the already popped up stuff. So if you popped everything up, it would be kind of wonky. We just want the areas that are going to be in the center of the card to be popped up.
Susan wants you to know that it takes a village.
It does. Susan, you are so right. It takes a village. Okay, a couple little sequins in here, and I think we're done this card. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit so we can see this better. And then I will show you the other card that I made. And then we're going to give away a $15 gift card today. So make sure that you've left a comment, because that's how you get entered to win a gift card. I like to put a lot of sequins on a design like this. We'll see how it looks. Let me get my pick and stick tool. I'm going to use mostly small sequins so that they're not like, you know, too big. That's what a small sequin would be, not too big. I'm just going to pop those into place. So I'm using the micro disco ball sequins. I probably could have used a little bit bigger glue blobs. That's the technical term for the dots of glue blobs. Sometimes I just entertain myself, you know. A tiny one over here. I'm going to put more, putting one in here, definitely, and one down here. I don't even know if they're even anymore. I have so many on here, I don't think it matters. But it is nice to let the glue set a little bit first before you try to struggle. And I'll do a tiny one down here. I can't have enough sequins sometimes. Especially for a design like this, the sequins, I think they just add so much to it. Okay, so there it is. This is not about the card though, it's about the coloring, but I do think that that card is really pretty and fun with the extra little bit of sparkle. And let me show you the one that I shared on release night. This is the way I clean. There we go, all cleaned up. Here's the one I shared on release night. Now, I didn't add any of the black accents on this one, and the greeting came from the Modern Roses stamp set. So I think that, you know, it's a really pretty card, but I feel like this one is just glowing so much more because of the black and because of that background. That cardstock color just allows the flowers to glow more. So there we have it, Tom. 2 cards to share, and definitely some fun tips and techniques with this one.
Spectacular.
All right, so let's give away a gift card. Let's find a winner out there.
Okay, drum roll, please. Ba-ba. Yes, the winner today is Laurie O'Neill. Laurie!
Yay, Laurie! Congratulations, Laurie. You win a $15 gift card to Gina K Designs. All you have to do is send your name and what email address you want to use to info@ginakdesigns.com, and we will send that gift card out to you right away. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you had a good time, and we hope you like these tips and tricks for coloring. Give it a try. Get that black colored pencil out, and make sure you share your cards in our Facebook group at Gina K Designs and Stamp TV Friends. We would love to see what you make with your Gina K Designs products. All right, everybody, Tom and I will be back next Tuesday night with another Stamp and Chat Live, and until then, stay safe and healthy. We love you all so very much, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.